This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.
Oh,
It's a call to arms.
is that a mouth harp?
Danny has a washing board.
Yeah, that thing.
There you go.
That's it. Yeah.
I used to be good at this. That was a good one.
There it is. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. I could blow the bottle soon, like yeah, in the dip jug.
Yeah.
Blowing the dip jug. The spittoon.
All right, y'all ready?
Yes, let's go.
Beers in the Lot is partnered with the Hockey Podcast Network.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Beers in the Lot. Before we get going, let me just remind you about our shop at beersinthelot.com/shop. That's where you can get the t-shirts and other merchandise with Beers in the Lot logos on it. Also, check out beersinthelot.com for anything else you might be curious about this podcast. And be sure to join the Discord at beersinthelot.com/Discord. Well, for our first episode of 2024, episode 177, the guys and I talked about the Winter Classic, World Junior Championships, and the PWHL starting up. Well, all right, let's crack the beers.
Heavy pour.
Need it.
Jawa, kick us off for 2024.
I am drinking Knob Creek 9-year Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Welcome to 2024, gentlemen. Eric, what are you drinking this evening?
I have a fine imported Pilsner from Canada by the name of Labatt Blue Light.
Wonderful.
Yes, excellent. Daniel's crack sounded like a gunshot. What do you have, sir?
That is because I have the big boy, the mortar, double dog, double IPA,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
12% bad boy.
Mortimer over there. Sick.
I need it.
Now you're gonna finish that, all right? And then I'm gonna tell you about the Double Dog Challenge. Okay?
Oh boy.
Okay. The Double Dog Challenge is a full 6-pack of those.
Oh my God. Jesus. I would like to live.
12%.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
And what do you have tonight, Aaron?
I have a repeat of Samuel Adams Winter Lager. It's good. I've been drinking these. You know,
No respect
they're
for
good.
authority.
Did you see the 2023 recap that went on Instagram, John?
Yeah, you had like literally the exact same photo in 100 of them, pretty much.
It was the exact same photo. The last 10 were all Stella
Yeah,
for
I
me.
know.
Oddly enough, we end up in the same configuration every time that I guess it's alphabetical, every time we take the picture. And
Yeah, it's Discord.
that worked great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a repeater and I don't give a shit.
I mean, bold words, Aaron. Jeez. I mean, very rebellious in the new year, I see.
Gotta be, right? Actually, rebellious is and new and fresh is a good way to talk about the Winter Classic this year. Some new, fresh teams, right?
Yeah. Finally.
Oh, don't worry. There's already rumors that they're trying to get Chicago back in because Bedard's in the fold. But
It's good to see both teams went with their vintage sweaters.
Well, yeah. No, but
Both
Seattle
Seattle old teams.
Yeah.
Seattle
brought it.
Seattle's has history behind it because that's
Mhm.
based off of the old Metropolitans sweater, which was the first American team to ever win the Stanley Cup when it was still a
Mhm.
Challenge Cup. So
Yeah.
you challenge whoever had it and you go play them and then you'd win it or not or whatever. So, but yeah, I actually liked Seattle's uniforms once they were on the ice much better than Vegas.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I liked Vegas. Like I like the jersey minus the V. Like I don't mind the color scheme. I don't mind the pants. I don't even mind the cream color. The V is just like it just doesn't do it for me. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
What would you want on the front of that?
Yeah, great question. I guess that's the only thing. Like I don't.
An L for loss.
Yeah, I did see that. I did see that. Yeah, there are some of those memes going around. Even who was it? I think it was Jesse Granger, a writer for The Athletic who covers Vegas. He even put like on Instagram or Twitter or X, sorry. He even said like, I hate seeing that, but very clever. You know, like kudos. I think it like you could have done like an old timey night image or something. I don't know.
Maybe like a coat of arms that represented Las
something.
Vegas.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like a sun, maybe a light, for lights, maybe some coin, and then you can't really put like hookers or anything. Maybe like a bunny. I don't know. But like, yeah, I like like a coat of arms or something. Something like old timey like that. Yeah, whatever. But I mean, the game's somewhat uneventful if you're a Knights fan, but
I thought the game was boring. Period.
Yeah, it was kind of like
it was
a hair lame.
Yeah,
a hair lame. Like actually, at one point, I was like, "Can we see like a hit from behind or like a borderline like something?" I was like, "Get something to like kind of get a little more like feisty, like kick it up a notch just a little bit."
The most action was on the broadcast between fucking Biz's dumbass and the stupid mascot for Seattle, the troll. Yeah. That was like the most action that happened in the whole broadcast. Like that's what everybody's talking about. They're not talking about the hockey game. They're talking about that. So it's good. New markets.
Yeah.
Seattle is a huge sports town. It's been that way. It has a lot of history, with baseball and football and basketball with the Sonics, but so that's good, but I don't know. Like the hockey was just boring. I expected more. Like I expected NHLers to realize like, oh, this is the only game today. We're the only game on the schedule. We have national, international broadcast. Like let's turn it up. Let's show something. Maybe they just don't have the personalities on those teams, but
it could also be just kind of like right after the holidays, a little bit of the doldrums.
Yeah,
and I know, like, especially if you're like Vegas and Seattle, that was a lot of those guys' first time playing in an outdoor game. So
they should be hyped about it, though.
Yeah, but they could have been caught up in everything else that goes around it. Kind of like your family comes in, you kind of have a few, a couple of days to kind of take it east a little bit, and I get it because there's 2 points still on the line. I mean, yeah, but I mean it. I guess if you're looking at it from a league perspective, went off without a hitch, which is awesome, and it seemed to be a good success and supported by both, fan bases. So
yeah, great. What was the number in house? It was like 43,000 plus, something like that.
Yeah,
it's building. So I mean, it's a big baseball stadium, so that makes sense. But yeah, that's really good.
Did anybody see the video of the people who were in the seats down low? They were like turning back to like watch the Jumbotron.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're like, I can't see anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a baseball stadium.
It's a baseball stadium.
It's not made for hockey.
I feel like for those events, the second balcony is always best.
Yeah. If you're up high, you're probably in a better spot. I would say if you were up on the second deck, like on one of the baselines, maybe right about where the bases would be, first or third. That's probably where you want to be, I would think. But
now, did you go to the Winter Classic? I know you skated.
No, I didn't go. They just they offered the youth hockey clubs in the area the opportunity to go to Nats Park when Washington played Chicago. What was that, 14 or 15? I don't remember now.
But, yeah, something like that. I know Troy Brower won it.
Yeah.
You score with like 10 seconds left or something against Chicago, fittingly enough.
We got to go skate, but I didn't go to the game.
Yeah.
Like I was,
The only thing that was kind of like bogus about that, and I understand kind of like the logistics around it, but like they offer the youth organizations, at least they did in the DMV area, to like skate the day after. So you have like an hour and 15-minute ice slot, very strict on time because, they're shuffling people out, bringing another
they
organization.
were tearing it down.
They were tearing half that shit down. And the other thing too is there was no chillers. So like it was super cold the day of the Winter Classic. It was like 20 degrees with a pretty significant wind chill. The day we ended up skating, it was like 50 something, overcast, so it was a little chilly with wind. But like there were some spots of that ice. I mean, your skates were soaked. And your pants. I mean, it was just so wet because they like the NHL is like, all right, enjoy it, bye, and they just unplug it and like take the chiller system out. But yeah, I mean,
they pull it out from underneath your feet.
Pretty much, yeah,
yeah,
pretty much. I mean, I understand the reason they is
Well, they got to get out because guess what? Baseball starts in a couple months, so. Yeah, those guys got to get ready. So you got to get out of the building. Like,
yeah, because they have to do any turf or.
Yeah, they got to do all their work.
Yeah.
Tell you what, they might need to send some chillers up to the Poconos.
Oh man,
we still got a couple weeks here.
There's still a while.
Hey, man.
Still a while.
Hey man, if you recall last year, it was very close as well. So
it was. Yes.
I'm enough of these scare tactics. We're not. Doing
I mean,
this.
we're going up
I'm
there
not
anyway.
even.
If we don't skate,
exactly.
I don't care. We're going up there.
Yeah.
Although last time it helped that it was -4.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah, that helped.
Aaron, they still serve like alcohol in the establishments up there.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. So yeah.
Yeah, we might not be playing hockey, but we'll be having fun.
The game room has poker.
What's this?
That's what matters.
What's the sport you're talking about?
Last year they had what? It was only like 4 or 5 days of below freezing, close to zero temperatures leading up to the event, and they got a solid day in. Plus that Sunday morning, so it'll be fine. We're in good shape. We're in good shape.
I was just looking at the weather. They're hovering around freezing anyway, so it's like the highs are like 34. It'll be fine. I'm not too terribly worried about it. I would feel better though if there was a foot of ice out there already, but
Well, it's not that time of year yet.
It isn't that time of year.
Hard freeze won't happen typically till mid to late January. So we'll see.
I think it'll be A-okay.
Yeah, we're fine. We're still 4 weeks out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, cool your britches, Aaron. Jeez.
Tired of your negativity.
Yeah, your goddamn negativity. Anyone paying close attention to World Juniors? Anyone enjoying anything? Any overall kind of thoughts as we head into the kind of knockout stage?
I defer to Rigsby.
I really like how USA is playing when they're playing well. I have issue with them because it seems like they get in their heads and they kind of fall out of what they do well, which is speed and possession. They're not a big team, so like when they played the Czechs, they controlled the puck for the first half of the game, and then the Czechs decided like, oh, we're going to use our bodies, and then they kind of came back, and then it had to go to a shootout. But I think if that Team USA team like continues to use their speed and continues to play a true possession game and not just throw the puck around and not try to skate through people and make smart plays, keeping the puck as long as possible before volumes of shots, like I think they're in good shape. They're obviously the odds-on favorite coming in. That's nobody questioned that, not even Canadian media. So they also have the pressure of being the team to beat right now. So we'll see. Canada, when I watch them, they look like a selfish team. Like they have a lot of selfish players that just make like I would yell at guys if they were on my line, like some of the plays that they make, I would yell at them because they're just making selfish plays. Like when I watch them, like that's what it looks like.
Well, what's interesting? The one thing I've kind of taken from the tournament as a whole is like, there's been a lot of bitching about the officiating in the IIHF, and part of me almost, I want to say this every year, and I mean, I've never been in a coach at the IIHF level or anything, but I would almost drill in from the start of selection camp when they do this back in September and August in some scenarios where they start kind of like notifying players like, hey, you will be invited to selection camp. Sit them down and go like, hey, this isn't the WHL, this isn't NCAA, this isn't USHL, any division of hockey that the North American kids will traditionally play. Like, so you got to be a little smarter with some of your hits. And I'm not saying like some of them have been, poor hits where they should get 5 in a game. I'm not even saying that. But it's like, hey, you guys need to be super aware that like sometimes some of the appearance of some of these hits, it looks borderline and they're going to go, in the era of caution and safety. But like Geeky got kicked out like 11 or 12 seconds into the game the other day. And he's like, this is garbage. And I'm kind of like, well, dude, like, how are you not aware of like a scouting report on the officials leading into the tournament?
No, it's not the officials though. They called it exactly to the rule.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like the players and the coaching staffs need to be like, hey, dude, pay attention.
If there are dangerous plays and if there's any head contact, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Exactly.
It's black and white.
Yeah, I'm not mad at the officiating. So it's more like you guys are dumb.
Now, if you want to argue about the rule, fine. You can argue about the rule, but you can't argue about that specific play that happened and being Geeky getting kicked out of that game. Like you cannot.
He's ding dong.
They called it textbook.
Exactly.
Textbook.
Like that's where I'm saying.
That's what John's saying, right? Is that
like how? Yeah. Why can't these kids just get it?
Later on in that game, when the German kid Hoff hit Poitras, Poitras turned right at like the last millisecond. Like you have to slow down the video to see him do it, right? But he does, and it's a bad hit because he could have got hurt, right? But he does turn, and when they're coming through neutral, he's coming down the boards. They're coming through neutral. Hoff is tracking him from the middle of the ice towards the boards, is basically pinching him off on the boards, and then goes for the hit. And at that point, Poitras like turns to like button hook back up ice, and he gets caught, right? Because Hoff's right on top of him, and it's a bad hit. And you can make the case that, that probably should be 5 minutes. But by the rule, it wasn't, because it wasn't head contact. It was boarding. That's what it was by the rule. So that's what they call it, 2 minutes. And everybody's going nuts because they're like, oh, they kicked Geeky out because of this. And then this thing happens to our guy, and they're not giving him the 5 and the 10 in the gate. Well, because they actually called it the right way. And I want to dance around some of the communication problems with the officials too, because I think there's an issue, because they've had, especially the TSN feeds that I've watched, like they've had mics in certain places and you could hear conversations between players and officials and coaches and officials. And the officials are not all from the US and Canada.
Correct.
They're from Sweden, they're from Czech, they're from Finland, they're from Germany, they're from all the representative countries. Okay? There are some language barriers, and you could very clearly hear them when you hear the communication between players and officials and coaches and officials. And I don't want to say it, but I think that's part of the problem is they can't get past it. But to me, like when I see like the Canadian coach talking to the officials that they had for that game specifically, for the Germany-Canada game, I don't know I don't know where the officials were from, but there was a communication problem between the Canadian coach and that official that he was talking to about those plays. And I think it ratchets up the emotion and the tension, and then everything just goes to shit, right? Again, I don't know if that's even a problem or how you would even fix it, because you need to have representation. You know, you in the interest of at least making things fair and balanced, or whatever you want to call it, like all those stupid words. But I think that's important. But I think there's also there's a common language that we have to come up with between the officials and the teams so that they can get through these things and figure out how are we going to play. You know, what rules are we playing by? What's going to be called and what's not? And at what degree are we going to call things or not? So
I think you're right, though. Like, it's got to come into, or got to be a factor, because I mean, any mic'd up videos I've ever seen where it's like a player or a coach talking to the ref, they're doing it constantly. Like,
right.
I'm not gonna call that if you do that. Like, the ref is literally yelling at the players, like, stop doing that, or I'm gonna call you, or I'm gonna call this every time, or you know, like they're telling the players exactly how they're gonna call the game. So I have to think that that's a huge factor. And I mean, like you said, John, if these kids didn't get a talking to and basically said, you got to tone it down a little bit. Like, you can't go out there and throw the hits that you want to throw to try to get noticed, because that's what half of these kids are doing, is that they're trying to, you know, put on a show for the eyes that are on them so that they can further their careers. And they want to go out and throw big hits because that looks good. But at the same time, getting thrown out of the game and not getting to play the rest of it does not look good. So they really need to have I hope that they were talked to and told, hey, you throw hits to win the game, but don't go out there trying to, you know, make the flashy hit to set the tone or whatever. Like, you just can't do it the same way as you do back home. And that, coupled with the communication barrier with the refs, I think you got a powder keg there. So it's actually kind of not surprising that there's issues like this. And
yeah,
I don't want to say that this happens every tournament, but I feel like there's been similar storylines in other tournaments we watch too. But I mean, I
think from a fan perspective, there's a, like, fans, the average fan is not familiar with the IHF rule book. They're not familiar with that rule book, right? They're familiar with, you know, mostly the NHL and how it's called on a nightly basis, right?
Right.
And they're familiar enough to understand the difference between regular season and playoff NHL hockey officiating, right? Which they are different. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Right. They are, you know, as much as, you know, people will argue against that. But the IHF rules are completely different. And there are certain areas that, again, they are stark black and white. Like, if on any kind of replay or anything, if there's any kind of head contact seen in any penalty situation, then penalties are ratcheted up.
Yep.
You know, to the point of, you know, you're getting majors and you're getting kicked out of the game. You know, so I think there's player education, there's communication issues, there's fan education, right? Like, there's all these things that come up in these international settings. So
it's true. Time out for just a second while we hear about our sponsors. We'll be right back. Is it new year, new you for 2024? Pure Hockey has the best hockey equipment, accessories, and apparel on the market to take your game to the next level this year. Maybe you made resolutions to improve your puck handling or passing. Maybe it's time to ditch that old stick and start the year with a fresh twig. Maybe it's time to refresh your NHL wardrobe for the race to the playoffs. Pure Hockey has it all. Whether it's training aids, the latest sticks and skates, or your favorite team's gear, get your hockey shopping done at Pure Hockey and use our affiliate link at beersintheLot.com/Pure Hockey. Bet the action on the ice with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and use code THPN. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The crown is yours. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gambling resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2023, all rights reserved.
So the internet has been a buzz today. The X's and Twitters and Instagrams and such. I saw a lot of things. It was like Happy PWHL Day to those who celebrate. And I guess it was to correspond with the Winter Classic. There was some other hockey on to watch too, with the women's games, with the first games out of PWHL starting. So that's kind of cool. Here, there's some rule changes.
Yeah. So one to start would be the standings, which I'm actually a massive fan of. There's been talks about trying to do it in the NHL for, I don't know, 20, 30 years now.
Oh, is this the 3-point system?
They're doing that, 3-2-1 point system. So 3 points for a regulation win, 2 points for an OT or shootout win, and 1 point for an OT or shootout loss. So this way, I actually think it like incentivizes teams to, we need to get this done in regulation. And it opens things up, especially in a tie format, which I love. I think that's awesome. I wish the NHL would do that, but whatever. But Eric, what's the shorthanded one again?
So if you're shorthanded and you score a shorthanded goal, it wipes out the rest of the penalty, which
there you go.
I think is awesome because we've talked about before that the power plays penalty kills are too formulaic now. You know what's going to happen. You know who the puck's going to. You know what the entry is going to be and where the passing lanes are. Everybody knows because everybody goes in the, shorthanded teams go into their diamond or their box, and everybody runs the 1-3-1 power play now in every single league around the world. It doesn't matter what level. So, you know what? Make the shorthanded team play. Give them an incentive to not be shorthanded anymore. So now maybe they take some risks to try and go score. Maybe they put different players on the ice, to try and go score. I like it. Let's actually play hockey instead of play football.
Okay, 2 minutes now. One team's on offense and one team's on defense. Period. Nothing else is going to happen. Let's change it up a bit. I like this. This makes it so that the shorthanded team is looking for opportunities to score. Maybe instead of dumping it in from their zone, they're going to, carry it a little bit and see if they've got an option or two, and then see what they can make out of it. Maybe they'll take some shots instead of just dumps. That's cool. I like it.
Yeah. Get
Shots
possession.
instead of dumps. Hell yeah.
Shots over dumps. Absolutely.
Get possession, force the issue, and it should open up chances the other way too. So if you're trying to increase scoring, it should open up chances the other way. Now, if you want to take it all the way to what I think is the ideal situation,
keep icing. I knew it was coming. Yep.
Let's just play, make it a true shorthanded situation. Let's just play the game, but you have one less player, right? So,
yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
and I saw a bunch of other stuff on Instagram and stuff that the refs were holding the whistles and they weren't calling penalties.
Yeah.
They were allowing some rough stuff, which that's a little bit different than what we've seen in the past. So that's cool.
There was talk. I was watching the first game, New York and Toronto today. I watched most of the first half or so. There was talk on the broadcast. It was TSN broadcast. So, smart hockey people that were in the know that there were when they got together with the players and the executives with the league and the teams and everything, that the players wanted things to be a little bit more open as far as contact. They wanted it to be a little bit more physical, and you saw it today. Like there were some question, like we were just talking about World Juniors, right? Like there were some questionable hits, which you, again, if you watched any of the previous pro leagues or any women's international games, like it's physical, but it wasn't like today. Like there were some things that even in an NHL game would make you think that could possibly raise an arm,
Yeah, like an
Right.
interference call or something. Yeah.
Oh no,
mean,
I'm not even talking
yeah.
about that. There was some stuff
Well, I'm
where
saying
there were
that's what they called. Yeah,
there
that's what
were
they called the penalty
shoulders-
is interference.
there
which
were
was funny.
shoulders going through shoulders that were starting to raise up, and I was like, all right, we're starting to get to a place where it's looking more like a North American pro league, which I think is what they're after, and that's good.
Yeah,
That's good for the
Well,
PWHL.
I think that's a good thing. Yeah.
Well, if you
Yes,
take
yeah.
it to like the Canadian women and USA women, they do the rivalry series, and sometimes that gets a little chippy. So they did that like back in November, and then they've done the PWHL training camp, all separated on teams. So like that, I mean, I'm sure some things boil over a little bit, like not any fisticuffs or anything, obviously, but like pretty cool. Like if this is going to be a normal, everyday PWHL game where it's a little more body contact clearly than a, IHF women's tilt. Like I do see a lot of, highlights on social media and stuff regarding that. So that's awesome. And two, like a lot of the women that played today, like some very familiar names put some points up, like Alex Carpenter. So if you're trying to sell that more in the, areas, that's cool. I still have yet to pick a PWHL squad. Perhaps at some point I'll do that moving forward. I don't know where my allegiance will lie. Yeah, we'll find out.
It's honestly, I'm happy that women's hockey is back in the mainstream and that they're doing new things and trying new stuff. Love it. They really need to make these teams more identifiable. I mean, that's probably their number one criticism is like, oh, their logos and so on. Like the names of the teams, they're just kind of lacking. I mean, I know that's the number one criticism, but I gotta say that I agree with it because it's tough to pick a squad when they don't even have a mascot. I mean, it's just the city. I mean, on a diagonal on the jersey, which is, I mean, okay, fine. It's first season. Let them get back on the ice. Let's get them going. Fine. And then I guess it'll flesh out from there. But it's tough to pick a squad when it's just the cities,
That actually came up on the broadcast. Jenna Hefford was on the first intermission, and they literally asked her point blank, like, you put all this together basically in less than 6 months. You put together a pro league with full-time team staffs. Like they have full-time support staffs. They have everything, right, that they need. You put all this together basically in less than 6 months. It started, halfway through what would traditionally be a hockey season. And you don't have team names, you don't have mascots, you don't have all these things, right, that would traditionally be there. And she was like, yeah, but you know what? We've done all the right things. We have the full-time support staffs. We have living wages. We have all these full benefit systems that allow the players to just focus on playing hockey and training for hockey. So they're true professionals now. So all that other stuff will come, right? And they want to involve the local fan bases in that activity, like any other expansion franchise would do, right? They solicit names from the community and whatever. So it'll come, right? That'll work itself out.
I'm happy they're playing again. I'm happy they've got a league together again and that they have a product.
More hockey's good.
More hockey is good.
A unified league too.
Yes, unified league it's a huge deal, and it's a shame it's taken this long, honestly. But I'm happy that they're back. It's good for hockey.
Yeah, now if only OFBG can get their fucking shit together. Neat league.
Yeah, we need a unified league.
Yeah.
We need to unify our
We need
league.
to unify our league.
All right, that's it for this one. Thank you for your listen and for your support. We appreciate all of your likes and ratings and reviews and subscriptions on the various podcatchers. Keep them coming. We appreciate every single one of them. I know I speak for the rest of the guys when I say have a good one, and we'll catch you next week when our new episode drops on Wednesday. See ya.